Hello, friends. So, today we'll try to answer the question whether someone should invest their time and their hard earned money for 1 year global MBA program at INSEAD. I'm Nikhil Garg, and I'm a recent INSEAD MBA graduate of class 2024 December. I'm currently working as an AI consultant at Alex Partners London office. Now, going back to our main question whether someone should get into 1 year MBA at INSEAD or not. For this, we should ask us two main questions. First, what exactly we want from an MBA? Maybe there are other courses which align more closely to your personal and professional aspirations. Secondly, what exactly is the cost associated with this decision? Now, given that we all have different aspirations from an MBA, let's try to solve the easier problem first and try to figure out what's the extra cost that you're actually incurring while doing an MBA. So we need to keep in mind three things. First, the opportunity cost of a year. Second, the actual tuition fee. And third is the accommodation. So opportunity cost is nothing else but the cost that you incur by not being in the job market for that year. So for example, let's say based on the Financial Times data, INSEAD increases the salary by almost 100% as compared to pre-MBA salary. And on average, it's a 100K median salary for INSEAD. Your salary would be somewhere around 50K as a pre-MBA salary. So your opportunity cost for not going for a job for 1 year is somewhere around 50K. Secondly, it's the tuition fee for INSEAD, which is 107,000 pounds, euros for 2026 December batch, which turns out to be somewhere around 120K USD. And third is the accommodation and miscellaneous and trips and everything else, which I'm not kidding, would be somewhere around 30 to 40,000 USD. Now, so adding everything, it comes out around 210,000 US dollars, which would easily take you 3 to 5 years just to make up for this extra cost that you have paid. Definitely, it would have some variations based on the geography that you end up in. Now, the second most important investment in an MBA is your time. The time that you could have otherwise used for learning new skills, building upon your expertise, or even starting a new company. This actually happened in our class that when someone received an angel investment for their startup, they actually left the INSEAD and went ahead to build their own venture. Now that we have covered the major investments and costs associated with pursuing an MBA, let's look at some of the key aspirations people have when they are choosing this path. In the following section, we'll explore how INSEAD specifically supports these goals through its program and the global ecosystem. So from what I've gathered, people usually pursue an MBA for two broad motivations. One is professional, and second is personal. On the professional side, the most common goals are career advancement, functional switch, geography change, networking, and in many cases, entrepreneurship. On the personal side, many are looking to develop as strong leaders, build meaningful friendships, and relive their student experience. Some things that's hard to find once you're deep into your career. So now, let's go through each of those motivations and try to figure out how does INSEAD MBA actually help you to fulfill those. So first, let's talk about career advancement. Now, if your goal with an MBA from INSEAD is to step into a more senior role, say moving from an executive or individual contributor position into a managerial role such as category manager, operations manager, marketing managers, or even consulting managers, then INSEAD can definitely help you to make that transition. The MBA, and especially from INSEAD, acts as a strong signal to employers that you are ready for leadership, especially in many established firms where internal mobility are not that easy. The MBA serves as a way to break through that glass ceiling. Given your prior experience, this next step is often more about positioning than about reskilling. That said, this is worth keeping in mind that your post MBA opportunities will still largely depend on your pre MBA experiences. Recruiters and the interviewers will focus on the skills and the impacts that you have demonstrated in the past. And the MBA would complement that, not compensate for it. Also, if you've got like more than 5 years of experience in one particular domain, there are chances that you'll already be ahead of many of your classmates in terms of the domain depth. The real value for you will come from sharpening your soft skills, broadening your business perspective, and gaining practical framework that will help you to manage and lead effectively. Finally, it might be worth sharing that with the growing importance of AI, stepping into a managerial role might be a smarter move as compared to being an executive role. AI tools are being integrated into leadership and decision making. Taking a few more AI based electives or external certifications on AI in management can position you as someone who does not only understands technology, but also knows how to use it to lead people. So let's talk about career switch now. This could mean changing the industries and moving from pharma to metals or policy, insurance, etc. Or shifting into a new function, say from a technical role to consulting, or from consulting to a product manager in a tech company. That said, making this kind of switch, especially in a 1 year MBA like INSEAD, isn't exactly easy. Though a few of my batchmates did manage to make it, but it definitely wasn't a walk in the park. This is where it's worth talking about the difference between 1 year and 2 year MBAs. If you're aiming to change both your industry and location, or maybe industry and function, a 2 year MBA program might give you more flexibility thanks to internships, campus jobs, and just having more time to experiment and build a new narrative. Also, let's be honest about career support at INSEAD. At INSEAD, the Career Center is there to guide you, but they won't do any heavy lifting for you, which makes sense at certain level. You have to be super intentional, pick the right courses, attend the right networking events, reach out to the right people. The career coaches at INSEAD are very generalistic. The career coaches can point you in that general direction of what should be done, but the deep industry knowledge and preparation, that's all on you. And while we are being honest, INSEAD is a consulting school. If you want to be a consultant, you're in the right place. But for anything else, make sure you know what you are signing up for. Do your own research, speak to the alumni, and just really understand whether INSEAD is the right place for your particular goals. Also, in today's world where AI tools make general knowledge accessible to everyone, companies are leaning towards specialists. So if you're trying to break into a new field or new domain industry, be ready to explain why you're a better bet than someone who's already been doing that job for years. One last thing, some industries value MBAs, others don't. In fields like consulting or investment banking or some corporate functions, an MBA can help you to make break the glass ceiling or at least provide you an interview. But in tech, for example, your MBA might not count for much. So it's important to know how your target industry views the degree before you take the plunge. The next big quest could be that you want to work in a different geography. Now, this one is especially tricky, and as it's very individualistic. And I would suggest that you talk to someone who is from the same background, ethnicity, or nationality, or the industry. To give you some INSEAD specific context, the school in itself doesn't provide any direct work authorization. In contrast, US schools, particularly those offering the STEM designated MBAs, they grant graduates up to 3 years of work eligibility in the US through OPT. This option is not available at INSEAD in any location. Now, there are a few factors that should be kept in mind while considering an MBA purely for the geography switch. First is work authorization. After finishing your MBA at INSEAD, in France, you'll receive 1 year job seeker permit. However, if a company wants to hire you, they'll still need to sponsor your work visa. If you go to the south, in Singapore, the job market for the foreigners is very tough. Very few people are actually able to secure work visas there. Plus, if you ever want to switch jobs, you have to face the same visa hurdles all over again. So, my advice, if you can obtain citizenship, work visa, or something like a golden visa, like in Dubai, in the country where you want to build a career, it's worth waiting for that before jumping on your MBA journey because it can make a lot of difference. The second thing is the language. It's another big challenge when you're trying to join a company outside your home country, especially in much of Europe. Language is a big barrier. Many firms expect at least business level fluency in the local language before considering your application. Take the Middle East, for example. Arabic is often preferred and sometimes is even mandatory for applying for a position. That said, I'm not trying to say that it's impossible to do it without the language. Some of my batchmates have actually got into locations where the language was preferred, but they were so good that they actually got in. It's just that these language expectations add an extra layer of difficulty on top of already competitive job markets. Third, another piece of puzzle is the networking. Generally, most of our pre-MBA network is generally not present in the place of our aspired work location. And hence, better would be to network before and during the MBA into the location that you want to work in. In short, I'd recommend addressing at least two of the three key challenges that make your post MBA job search much easier. This is a reality check for anyone who thinks that making a move from one locality to the other would be a cakewalk. I'd say the best approach is to choose an MBA program that either provides a work visa for some time at least in your target geography or has a strong track record of placing graduates in your target market. Now, let's talk about network and community building. No doubt about it. INSEAD is one of the best places to build a truly global network. You will be surrounded by brilliant minds from nearly 100 nationalities, spanning every industry and job function imaginable. The diversity is incredible, and the exposure is second to none. I'd also highly recommend spending time in all three campuses Singapore, Fontainebleau, and Abu Dhabi to meet an even broader set of people. That said, with just 10 months and 5 intensive periods, it can be challenging to form deep connections unless you are intentional about it. But it's absolutely possible. People have met their best friends and even their life partners at INSEAD. If you're not coming to INSEAD to start your own venture and you're spending all your time on that, it's okay. If not, I strongly suggest going out on the weekend trips and making time for experiences outside the classroom. Those are the moments where some of the most meaningful relationships are built. So now let's talk about entrepreneurship, a space many INSEAD students are excited about, including myself. While INSEAD does offer a few solid resources, it's important to be clear about what kind of support you can realistically expect. There are startup booster courses and the INSEAD venture competition, which provide up to 45,000 in funding for the winning team and smaller amounts for runner ups. You'll also find strong mentorship from faculty, especially if your idea falls within well understood B2C domains like retail, fintech, or consumer services. That said, INSEAD isn't a tech heavy campus. If you're working on something more research intensive, say in deep tech, quantum computing, industrial automation, or biotechnology, the ecosystem may not offer the depth you need. Unlike universities with large technical facilities, INSEAD doesn't give you the access to engineering labs or researchers just around the hallway. So if your venture depends on cutting edge research or technical collaboration, you might be better off at a school like Stanford, Harvard, or Cambridge, where you can interact with domain experts and validate your ideas through interdisciplinary networks. Another point to keep in mind is co founders. While it's tempting to team up with another MBA, sometimes your ideal partner is someone with deep technical knowledge or industry specific experience. And those connections are more naturally found in schools that blend business and science under one roof. In short, INSEAD can be a good launchpad if you're building a space where business strategy, consumer insights, and early validation matters more than R&D. But for technical, complex startups, you may want to consider programs that sit closer to the technical or research world. Now let's step away from the post-MBA job talk for a moment and focus on the actual experience and personal growth that the INSEAD offers. There's a popular saying that your MBA will be the best year of your life. And while I genuinely hope that's not the peak for anyone, I can understand why people say it. You meet incredible people from all over the world, form deep friendships, and create memories that stay with you long after your graduation. Of course, if you are self funded, the looming loan repayments can cause a bit of emotional stress. But somehow, everyone figures it out. And I'd still wholeheartedly recommend the MBA journey to anyone who values experience, personal growth, and wants one last chance to live their true college life again. Now, let's talk about learning. And I'll start with something that you won't learn at INSEAD. You won't become an expert in any single field. The program moves very fast. 10 months, 5 periods, endless courses. It doesn't give you enough time or space to master any one domain. So, if you're looking to become a subject matter expert, this might not be the path for you. But here's what you do learn, and it's powerful. You learn the kind of things that matter more as you grow into leadership roles. For most of your career, especially as you move up, you won't be the person executing those tasks. You'll be the one making sure things get done through others. You learn how to build and nurture a network, something that will pay dividends over decades. You understand how to manage people, and more importantly, their expectations from you. You get a feel for navigating corporate politics, not in a manipulative way, but in understanding how organizations really work and how to drive change. You become more presentable, more thoughtful, more precise in your communication. And perhaps most importantly, you learn how to communicate with the people who don't speak your professional language. At INSEAD and even beyond, you'll often work with people whose background, expertise, or mindset is completely different from yours. The ability to adjust your message, pace, and the tone to connect and align with them is what truly sets future leaders apart. Now, these lessons won't drastically change your first year back in the corporate world, but over time, they shape how you lead, how you influence, and how far you go. So, those were my 2 cents on the MBA journey, specifically through the lens of my experience at INSEAD. If you've already made it into the program, congratulations. And if you're still in the process of applying, I wish you a very best of luck. If you found this video helpful or it gave you a clearer picture of what to expect, please like, comment, and share. It really helps others who might be navigating the same decisions. More importantly, I hope it contributes to making your MBA choice a more informed one. If you're curious about what life is like at INSEAD, specifically for an Indian male engineer, or just want a deeper dive into particular aspect of the experience, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to create more content or share my honest reflections directly with you. Everything I've shared here is based on my own journey and conversations with others from my batch. Of course, it's just a perspective. I strongly encourage you to speak with other alumni to get a well rounded view. And if you are looking for more tailored advice, whether on your application, on how the MBA fits into your personal goals, feel free to connect with me via LinkedIn or book a one-to-one through my TopMate profile. I've added the link in the description. Wishing you clarity, confidence, and a fulfilling MBA journey if you go ahead with one. Thank you.